she's very good at needing attention right around the time I start to give it to other things. So let me get far enough away that you can even just see this extraordinary realm. I know I'm going to be doing a little bit of that hold on one sec, with the stuff behind me. And okay, so the whole big thing where all of this comes from is Chinese medicine, very specifically the alchemy that became acupuncture. So this is like the mythology of, and Chinese medicine relies heavily on this idea called a Shen, Shen. You can see I have it written right here. Shen as like the ultimate Shen. Hi, sweetheart. Goes in our brain. Thank you for the likes. Please share and all the things. Hi. Hi. So our brain or the consciousness, I don't even want to say the mind because it's like cosmic consciousness, but also this chart is the chart of the microcosm. So this gets us into embryology, evolution, like as big or whatever as you want to contemplate, there is room here. But also, it's just so full human. Ma'am, hi, tell me what's going on. Tell me why we're having an issue. It sounds like you have an issue in your tissues. Do you need some water, Miss Ma'am? Do you want to get in the bath? Okay, she wants to get in the bathtub. Please excuse me. Or are you hungry? Which one are you? You're hungry. Here. Did he eat breakfast and not let you share with him? Uh-huh. Because he's a big boy and you're a polite girl. There you go. All right. They don't really have like food stuff together, but my boy cat definitely seems to get more breakfast than Darla. So the Shen, they're the magical mysticals. That's what I call them. My mother used to, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. We are going to tie it up with a bow of extraordinary today. I'm trying to keep my head out of your way. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. Okay. So Shen, anything can be a Shen if you are contemplating it as like the way that something shows up, not necessarily the label that it is. So like Shen corresponds to the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. If you're familiar with that idea of like, well, are we doing this by the letter of the law or the spirit? It's the spirit of. There is a whole set of Shen that just go with our organs, which I'm often speaking to and about. And those organ elements are those five main elements: earth, fire, water, metal, and wood. Once you and I, oh my goodness me, if we want to take it extraordinary, then we've got to go to infinity. So these are called trigrams that create my hands are going to look like they're strange depending upon where you are, because I'm streaming in a couple places. Find me on the YTube, please. If you're in the, okay, but anyway, listen, so exciting. Every time there's an 8 in Chinese cosmology, as much as I've been able to do my fun, nobody told me I was autistic my whole life, and I've been contemplating this shit since I was 11. All I've been doing is contemplating the patterns. And I've always avoided the bagua because the first thing you need to do with this map, the first thing is you need to say, this is Earth. Not just this is Earth, like, oh my goodness, what does it mean? Like the la la la. No, this is Earth. You have to fucking lay down a planet. And when the Bagua is applied to our environment, I'm making this sound much more exciting than it might be, but it's always been really amazing to me. Soon as that Earth is laid down, this yin and yang becomes you in your environment. And all of Feng Shui, when your Feng Shui consultant is placing furniture, thank you, is about harmonizing how these trigrams are relating to each other. Just like there's more than one way to skin a cat, there's more than one way to plot the Bagua. There are three. The one that I use is called pre-celestial. Pre-celestial. This is like the setup before you and I are born. And so in this setup, if you look at these trigrams, the lines, do you see how the one is three solid lines and the two is three broken lines? If you and I were to like fold those onto each other, you would not be able to perceive the broken lines. They would all appear to be together. So it's like the two trigrams almost like they complete each other. It's a little bit like what was that movie? Jerry Maguire, You Complete Me. So in a way, mirroring. The Bagua itself, okay, this is like really super duper. I didn't write about this specifically. I just wrote a book, by the way. It's called Neuroaffective Somatics. You meet all of this in the book. The mirroring, there are three ways that it mirrors, though. It can be in essence, concave, convex, or straight on. You're going to watch my eyes do this because a lot of how I understand mirroring alchemically is through neuroscience and contemplating this as a neural network. So I'm like trying to contemplate and remember how I would have seeded this for our nervous system. But there's three. We get three Baguas when we're born. So the pre-celestial, that would be like if you're a science nerd at all and you know what a waveform collapse is in physics, pre-celestial is the systems, plural, without an observer. Okay, whatever the flippant observer is, it could be one of these little inside ones. It could be something you invoke through the eight extraordinary immortals, the vessels, whatever, and it could just be like you and me having an idea. But pre-celestial is as though it's set up. I like that because then we're contemplating these as mirrors, as they're like folded, right? They're just like little paper folds. That's origami. That's nice. And then we can contemplate the Bagua, those trigrams, as ways to contemplate or visualize this landscape, okay? I'm gonna blow your minds. Jing, Qi, and Shen, I have discussed a few times on this channel, I know, where we have the three archetypes of energy, the archetypes of earth, fire, and water, not the elements. The elements are different than the archetypes. First little trick I'm going to give you. But I also want you to see that these are not stacked in order. These are stacked so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you see this ordering here. Then if I was to place it onto this landscape, because this is just basically a map now. It's called, this would be the first three trigrams, earth, heaven, and thunder. This would be the second three, wood, fire, and water. And these would be the last two, wood or lake, pardon me, metal and mountain. I think that is so flippin' clever and fascinating, personally. And the other thing is, I just want you to notice that as soon as you put a number on this, you have to do math. You have to do math. So the simplest way to contemplate this is just Jingqi and Shen and just like let the immortals and the vessels do what they do. But I'm too interested in how things work. I hate math too. I don't do math, okay? I don't do math. I will tell you, if we were to do math, we would be contemplating quantum right now, not regular physics, not relative physics, not Newtonian, quantum concepts. So quantum meaning smaller than an atom, as metaphor, which is really good news because we are so much bigger than an atom. And also, atoms do what they do, whether or not we ask them to. They are like one of the most reliable things in the universe, is how the electrons and neutrons and protons spin. So I don't need to worry about that. I like science as well. I'm gonna go grab some water and then we can meet the immortals. The eight immortals. Oh, I'm so glad I make it exciting. Just to like pitch myself to pitch, I wrote you a 210 page book. It's very much like a textbook about all of this that is lots of mappings. This we contemplate this as your brain, contemplate this as your nervous system, contemplate this as straight up alchemy, lots of stuff here. And the idea is for you to be able to like go into it and pick a section and then play with it. Um, it's going to retail for $30, but I just got my ISBN yesterday and I have to wait for the Library of Congress number. So if you want to get it early, it's only $20. And then I also put a whole bunch of what is that called? QR codes in it that link out to media, which is one of my new things. This is a lot of my teachers do this, where they write books and then they link out to their own media. And I was like, ooh, I want to copy that. Okay, but anyway, the eight immortals, as the story goes, because this is all myth and legend, okay? We're in the realm of thought, the realm of Shen. Shen is completely unbound, which is why we have to remember we're on planet Earth. As the story goes, uh, a vessel landed on a plateau in Asia. Eight beings came out. They spread all over Asia and became all of the martial arts. That's the down and dirty. I am certain there's a connection between this and India. I don't know what it is. I haven't learned about that yet in my scholarly contemplation. And almost all of this originates in South Asia. Fighting to get your something back. Love to get it if you win. There's free stuff as well. And the free stuff has everything that you need. So anything that you pay for, you're getting extra sauce. The free stuff always has everything you need. Hello, Miss Ma'am. Yeah. So in China, it ends up such that one human is contemplated as the experience of earth, humanity, and heaven. Heaven is atmosphere. Earth is the planet. So it's not the same kind of heaven as like heaven and hell. There is an underworld. I have been introduced to the underworld by the idea of bureaucracy. That's where all the bureaucracy happens in the underworld. That, like, once we're on planet Earth, ideally, we're not dealing with all that much bureaucracy. That's the whole, like, idea of Wu Wei, which is the primary central concept of experience in Taoism, Wu Wei, or effortless action. Things are just, they're just going as they should, which would be so amazing if it meant just like sit by the river and contemplate your navel. It's not really healthy, but they really were really asking of themselves was to contemplate our place in the natural world as well as how we deal with each other in society. This is very much like we do not like a high control governing situation. We want to have a co-experience. So these immortals they are not usually, and possibly they have not ever, I would be shocked if I'm the first one to do it. But to my awareness, these kinds of mappings of like the Bagua to the extraordinary vessels, which is the number, the element, and the immortal is unusual. It makes perfect sense to me because we have 1, 2, 3 levels here. And there are 3 lines in each bagua: base, middle, and top. In this bagua, when you're looking at those lines, the longest one goes on the bottom. So the bagua would open up like a flower. And then each of the trigrams here would almost be like a weird looking pyramid. Do we have certain bagua that resonate personally? Yes, very often. Very often. In your outer environment, for sure. In your inner environment, I have to take a look at these because I'm not, again, I am not an acupuncturist. I'm just a math autistic. But let me find you. Okay. So this bagua, oh, heckin', come back to me. Dang it. Hold on. I just found it and then lost it. Cranial nerves. Okay. So heaven, which is the 3 solid lines or the number 1. First of all, I want you to notice where it happens in your body. Okay, it's ass in the grass, babies. Okay, it's not all the way up here. We're plants first. We were plants first. And we also lived in the ocean first, apparently. That's what they tell us. The extraordinary vessel in your body that goes with is called the governing vessel. In this chart, it's your spine. It's the one that goes up the back. And it has to do with the scholar sage. I'm just going to read you. I assigned the whole nervous system to it, not just the vagus nerve, but the whole nervous system. And so that we can contemplate it as strength, clarity, and resilience. And then the immortal that goes with it as the scholar sage, he's the patron saint of scholars, the patron saint, and the martial arts, this immortal. Known for encounters with demons and spirits. Yes, absolutely. Was tested 10 times by some leader before achieving immortality. So I guess this is like as close as you get to a god, but these are just like really old and old people who like know a lot, but they live up in the stars now. We can connect to them though through this inner child here on the Star Bridge. When this channel or this Shen or like your experience of it is overactive or like overabundant, it can lead to certain kinds of rigidity and certainty where you like don't budge. Um, and this is a lot where we experience hypervigilance. What do I have here? Applying it in practice, wisdom and discernment, mental agility, and then stuff that helps with your spine. One thing that really helps is just like gentle movement. So then opposite heaven is earth, also occurring all the way down here in the land of Jing. It reminds you of the zodiac. This is related to the zodiac. The Chinese zodiac comes from a different base. The number that goes with the Chinese zodiac is 60. This is just 8. So this ends up becoming the I Ching. Right now it's just infinity. Immortals. All right. So the number 2, the maiden, and she's like the mother maiden, the mother maiden, right? The mother of all the babies, of the humans. She goes with Earth. And the vessel is the conception vessel. That's the one where you would have a baby, but it's also the one where we have ideas and where we cultivate and curate and contemplate new things or new ways, right? Like another way of experiencing. So maybe it's not so terrible, even if it's all still happening. She has to do with receptivity. I give you some feng shui associations about creating nice space, and that this is very much about compassion for ourselves and reproduction. So we have all gynecology in here. I know not everybody needs to worry about that, but that's where this goes. Then, balance and imbalance. If your mortal maiden is having a little bit of an issue, okay. Sometimes that's like where we get the people pleasing. And I just want to say, like, sharing this kind of stuff and associating it with these are associations. They're not like prescriptions, tickets, you know, what's the word? Destinies. They're tendencies. And these are just the ways that the ancients contemplated us as part of whatever lineages we're in, as part of the communities we're in, as part of the stars that we're from, as part of everything, not as having something. It's a different way of contemplating. Oh, and I also would love you to know that there's no sacred. There's no sacred feminine or sacred, it's masculine and feminine. Salt and vinegar. Enneagram 2s. the giver. Yes, they do. Enneagram is a system of 9. It's superimposed on 7. It's very exciting. The third vessel, which is the last one that goes down in this is called the first ancestry when we're contemplating it with the vessels and the immortals, the first ancestry. So if we're thinking about epigenetics, this is the first, the second, and the third ancestries. 1, 2, 3. It's just that what goes in them is not linear. It's a Mobius. I'm bringing it in front of your face so you don't have to figure it out yourself. I'm supposed to. Okay, so the third one is called Thunder, and that's this number 3. And again, the long one is the base. So it's solid, broken, broken. Or yang, yin, yin. Thunder is that first rumbling of awareness of. Thunder precedes lightning, right? We often hear thunder in a storm before we see the lightning. Have you ever done that thing where you count how long it's been since the thunder to the lightning, and then you theoretically know how far into the storm you are? I used to love doing that as a kid. I was like, that was 4. That was 10. It's like that. Okay. Thunder is the mystic alchemist, the alchemist, alchemy. That is you and me, mofo, when we are here, hanging out with this, contemplating. Goes with the wood element, this thunder. Wood element having to do with growth, having to do with how our nerves and neurons grow, having to do with how plants grow, how roots grow, how our tissue grows, all of that. On the inside, it is very much, you can contemplate it like at the zone, right before we get onto the land with the weaver. The growing sound, I don't know what the growing sound is, but yes. The slow rumbles, you know. This would be associated with the eldest son, the oldest son. And the vessel, the line in your body is the yang link. So that's your right foot, and it goes on the side. So these linking vessels create the front to back of us. We forget about that often. So it's good that it's here for us. This entity carries drums. Hello. So you always know where they are. What do I have? The teaching. Oh, this is the line of warriors. And lessons we learn through challenge. And then as a Shen, the mystic alchemist, Zhang Guolo, and I truly just don't know Chinese, I'm so sorry, he's known for riding on horses backwards and like looking over and just being like kind of weird. He was deeply respected by the Tang empires in the Tang dynasty. That's massive. And then he used a fish drum to summon spirits. Thunder, vibration. Embodies movement, resilience, rapid adaptation. But again, we just want to be like gentle with the hypervigilance. Like a lot of what happens down here in Jing when it gets like disrupted and disturbed shows up here as, oh my goodness me. It like stuff up here just turns on more. And one of the ways you can think about that is here. Do you see this? It looks like a pagoda. It's called the 12-storied pagoda. If we were like a whole pagoda, the base of the pagoda, right, would be all the way down at the base here. These are your cranial nerves, by the way. We have 12 of them. So it's just showing us how far away from the brain we are. And in our bodies, this is saying that connecting to the base of our spine, to the tailbone, to the seat, to the ground that we're on, not just the environment that we're in, is going to keep us to the body. So that's the first three extraordinary vessels that go with the first three immortals and the first three trigrams of the Bagua. They go together. Your sacrum is disintegrating. I hope that's sounds not fun. Does not sound fun at all. My goodness. Reminding you again, I just wrote something that's could be $30, but if you pre-order it, it's 20 and you get the first 25 pages, I think. You're gonna mess with your brain. I don't know what it is. This is a way to contemplate your brain though. So if it feels overactive, I would like, maybe come back tomorrow or something. None of this is supposed to be like something that you overcome in order to achieve. This is all, my experience of it is it's all like just very much, oh, this is like actually in your body, in your bones. Question mark. Pausing to wait. Okay, so that is pain in the body. I am so sorry that you live with that. Yeah. Pelvic pain is no joke. Even if you're not like on your pelvis, it does sustain a lot of our weight, and it's like it becomes like the Weeble, if a Weeble wobbles and it doesn't fall down. So in this system, it's very much like the seat of Soma, such that Jing is part of the planet. So this is what connects us to evolution. So all we need to do that is just contemplate our body as part of the environment. That's all we need to do. Just be on a thing. And that is done. You're so welcome. All right. The fourth. It is primal. These are primordial yin and yang down here we're connecting with. Yeah. Can I share this whole sense of bum? This is the one thing that I had to add to Chinese medicine to get it towards Western medicine. Western medicine, I had to just change how we're contemplating the body. But the sense of bum, that's missing in a lot of the somatic practices that are being brought forward, particularly for trauma. Most of those practices, most of those models are based on the efferent pathways or the motor pathways of the sensory motor experience, not the afferent or the sensory, right? So we get all this like, oh, you have a sensory processing thing, you have this kind of disorder, you have that kind of disorder. Please now show us and behave the correct way. And for some of us, that's not going to happen. Not because we're jerks, but because like the brains are different. Nervous system. Our nervous system, question mark, yes, what? I think I told you that the first, where are the other systems? Hold on, let me find them. each one of these trigrams has like a 4-page spread in the book. Is this what the sensing practice is? When I'm speaking about afferent and efferent, I'm actually talking like just straight up neuroscience. So if you look at our spine here, this visualization of the spine, our spine has like 2 different sets of noodly appendages, which are also known as nerves. One of the sets is afferent and it receives from our sensory motor cortex, from our eyes and ears and everything in our nose. And it goes on our spine on this back side, on the dorsal side. That is the afferent pathway. And then the other way it shows up is through the efferent pathway on this ventral side, on the front side, which is heart rate variability and like eye movement and everything. Most of polyvagal theory and nervous system regulation is measuring heart rate variability, what our eyes are doing, our respiration. And that's, I think, why it ends up being all about the vagus nerve, because that's the cranial nerve that actually goes through all these organs. But we have 12 cranial nerves, 12 of them. So when I'm talking about sensory motor, I'm talking about how does the brain and the mind and our consciousness and perception and body, like how do we experience it? We experience it differently than just like looking at it on a chart. It's the difference between like an MRI image and then a functional MRI, which is looking at actually how it goes in your body. I feel like this is a functional map. This is speaking to function, not just form, right? Because it has all these little entities that can do things. Yeah. So that is my thinking on that. Hi, Darla. You are licking your bum bum in front of the internet. Thank you. My goodness. That was not very ladylike. I'd have music on, but YouTube like silences me and stuff for what's the word? Copyright. Okay, so anyway, so we build the trigram the way you build the body. The base of the trigram is the element, heaven, earth, thunder, wood, whatever. The middle is the vessel, that's the number, which also means we can forget about it if we need to. And then the top of it is the archetype. And that then makes the trigrams mirror this. How cool is that? So the 7th and 8th, immortals and vessels go with the artist and the wanderer. And I love thinking about that as post-traumatic growth, the experience of growth. Even with, and even though, like it might really suck. There might be terrible. Obviously, we're having terrible right now. Oh my goodness me. Okay, just it's February 13, 2025 or February 14. And there are aspects of our body that are constantly in repair, constantly growing, reaching for new. And if our neurons just have a tiny little bit, happy Valentine's Day to you. If they just have like one, if they just have like one new place to reach for a maybe, that can start to change some of the ways that we experience the pathways of suffering. Because a lot of that is, these are like learned loops that we get into, especially if you experience trauma and then you have like panic attacks or trauma triggers. A lot of that is because we're in a kind of loop. rather than like cutting it apart and just dissecting it and redoing it. This is say, well, what if we just give another thing, just give more in the ground? Does this make everything better? No. Do I think that you should add it? Absolutely. I think it goes so great with anything. But I'm also partial to this. So the artist and the wanderer, artist, that is the inner child, okay? However you are creative doesn't matter. So these ideas, right? Like if you resonate with the elements more than you resonate with the immortals, hang out with the elements. If you do numerology and you want to hang out with the numbers, hang out with the numbers. They're always the same in these cosmological systems. When and as soon as you name and number something, though, then you're kind of obligated to whatever the bias of it is. So, but also these are just ideas. You're not going to hurt yourself. I mean, like, and these are what? Mystics, healers, guides, artists, wanderer, mountain, the lake, thunder. Like, that's pretty cool. Heaven here would be like the very tops of the mountains where the air starts to get really light. You know, China is very good at building very high into the mountains and like on the edges of cliffs. It's amazing how they've been able. Oh, I look at some of that and I'm like, no, I will hang out on the floor. Thank you very much. I am not meant to do that. The never-ending story castle. Yeah. This is the never-ending story here. The 12-storied pagoda. 12 stories, 12 hours, half a day. I can't believe it's only 12:15. I had plans for this morning and I got up early and everything, and then they canceled. And now I'm like, what's up with my day? Okay. So so Jing is the archetype of Earth. Jing in our body, like yours and my body, this is what we're born with. This is anything that impacts, influences, or affects like life expectancy upon birth, zip code, race, body parts, disability. What's the rainbow thing on top? The mountains or the this little like coming down the head? The thing coming down the head, that is the governing vessel. That's actually fascia, but you could totally turn it into a rainbow if you want to. Yeah, because it's black and white. So any color you put on it is the meaning that you put on it. I always laugh when somebody says black and white thinking. I'm like, yes, it's very clear. Then we can see what we were putting on top of it. Then we can have an idea about bias. I know that that's not what people mean with black and white thinking. All right, so chi, ki, energy, life force, prana, all the things. This middle zone is also where the visible light spectrum is. That's where it occurs. Chi is very fluid. It maps to the fire element. This is the one we're supposed to be tending to. This is the moderation zone, the fire zone, moderation. She is called the weaver. You can make her a him if you need to, but canonically, it is a girl. This is the woman who was the wife of the Yellow Emperor who invented acupuncture. The mom in the show from the 90s, My So-Called Life. Cool. Thank you. I hope that's okay. So she's the weaver. She sits, this is called the Earth of the Central Palace. So the base of the Bagua, the long line is the Jing. That's the bottom palace. The middle line is Qi. That's the central palace. And then the top line is Shen. That's the upper palace. This Earth, Central Palace, most important Earth. You don't even have to think about what the middle way is. It's illustrated right here. Fruition relies upon this earth. What does that mean in practice? F if I know, okay? I think it has something to do with paying attention to natural resources, caring, like having food, medicine, these kinds of things. Um, the mountain, you see it says the mountain. Sometimes and occasionally in Chinese art, humans will be drawn or depicted as mountains. Has to do with like longevity, but also earth, human, heaven. Mountains have a connection, they go up to heaven. What I think heaven is atmosphere. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's atmosphere. Nobody, they're all dead. The people who came up with this, it's a very long time ago. Tens of thousands, like some estimates, 20,000 years. Having the artist as the lake and metal, because like lake water is one of those ways that in alchemy we can like mess with perception. Truly, like, and also like it freezes and turns into pretty snowflakes and stuff. Hello, Stardust 13 and the Wanderer. So just things to contemplate. Do I have anything exciting to share? Go get it. The pre-order is only $19.99. The whole thing's gonna be $30. It's over 200 pages of amazing. 7 and 8. Hold on, let me get to the end of this. All right. So the last, this Wanderer also, he has an iron crutch. Yes, you can use each one to help another. Absolutely. Yeah, and these also map to different parts of our sensory motor cortex, to different kinds of to anything, because they're mapping. It's not a oh, thank you. I'm not, it's very chaotic. My online is very chaotic. Um, or I should say complex. But yeah, the Iron Crutch Warrior, disabled and still in charge of the whole fucking thing. So the Iron Crutch Warrior I put in is named Albert Einstein. And I just gave the number 8 to Albert Einstein and the totality of gravity, because this is yours and my genetic inheritance and like how epigenetic that is way beyond. I don't want anything to do with that. So this is all Einstein. Okay. If this was going to be math, this would be would this be Schrodinger's equation? It would probably be Schrodinger's equation, but also Gödel from Gödel, Escher, Bach. And I don't do math at that level. It's way too hard. So we'll just make it art. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are you sleeping on a paper towel? She's on a paper towel roll. You're so cute. You're so pretty. So you can contemplate Shen without having like an entity in front of you. You can just imagine it. But when we imagine Shen, in the way that I put all this together, you are imagining Shen, it is to the body. So it's just like imagine them as always beneficial. I don't need to know how they do what they do personally. That, again, way too much math. So this very top zone here, Shen, 4, 5, 6. So Jing is earth, Qi is fire, Shen is water. But Shen is one of those words that has like 27 meanings. Shen is how we get out of the binary of yin and yang. So it's just yin, yang, Shen. Just invoke the Shen. You will never get it wrong. I made sure of it. If TION is the definition, SHEN is how you experience it. So it's just going to take you into the realm of like, how is it for you? I really wish doctors would learn this. Because it changes how you understand power dynamics, but very much how you understand self-reporting. So many of us go to the doctor and our numbers are in range and we're not having an in-range experience. And what we receive is labels of anxiety or hysteria, not labels of, oh, this person is in pain and I am unable to do something. I mean, it's just very weird, okay? So this keeps us a little bit more in the realm of I call it extraordinary here, but it's also like the stuff that you can't measure all the way. The experience of. Yeah. Let's see, what else do I have? Show you what the cover looks like. Wonder of effective somatics. It's really pretty. It's like a blue-green. And then it's 8.5 by 11. I am going to do a digital, but not until after I do the written. But so afferent and efferent, AFF and EFF. Okay. Afferent receives, efferent does the doing. Our sensory motor experience, I believe, okay, is if we first receive, whether or not those impulses or awarenesses are coming from inside or outside, then is my understanding of my feeling not based on how I'm receiving things, not on how I am behaving. I mean, like when I think about it, really. That's how it feels for me. Also, afferent pathways, the pathways of affect map to a whole realm of neuroscience called affective neuroscience. A whole science. Affective neuroscience, reactionary, I like that. Yeah. Um, affective neuroscience is asking very different questions than effective neuroscience or psychiatry. Truly. Affective neuroscience is like, what is the nature of this depression? What is the nature of this? Neuroscience and cognitive science that ends up becoming psychiatry is like, what is the behavior of this in institutions? What is the measurement of this? And for some folks, if you have like a lot of chi, man, if you're a fiery entity, you might get labeled all kinds of things and you're just fucking like letting off some steam. I was out with a friend this week. She was just like Oh my goodness, she was on fire. I was like, you're on fire. What's going on? She was totally, do you ever do that where you're like fine emotionally and then you just go, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then you're fine emotionally because you just needed to, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." Yeah, well, sometimes that "rah, rah, 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 rah," gets translated as something aggressive, oppositional, whatever. Hello, Astro Kitty Katie. So this is more like contemplating how, just contemplating. And then with your body systems, it goes nervous system. This is your immune system. I have to remember how I did it. I believe number 4 I assigned to your fascia. Where are we? Hold on. I don't know my own mapping, of course, because it's never been done before. It all works logistically. It's just new mappings. Here we go. No, no, it must be at the bottom, at the end. Must be at the end, mapping the 8 trigrams. That's not it. Large intestine, meridians, Shen vessels. Am I going to have to redo something? I just don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. It's okay. There's plenty to think about. So Shen is consciousness. Shen is sentience. Shen is whatever the intelligence of that makes our bodies do what it does without us asking it. Shen. Shen is also, though, look at that. There's the inner child on the star bridge. So it's whatever connects us to the cosmos. But the lens is cellular. This is a microcosm. This is not like a looking at the inside of us like it's a X-ray. This is like each cell. I love it. It's also your cerebellum, your medulla oblongata, your pons. So this is the hindbrain. This corresponds to the trigeminal nerve, the one that goes, and then these two correspond to the 1st and 12th cranial nerve. It's called a spirit. No, it's not offensive at all. Absolutely not. This is Shen. I mean, I don't want to speak for somebody who's Chinese, obviously, but Shen is translated as spirit, the spirit of. Yeah. I call it magical mystical in my attempt to be somewhat, I like to be as neutral as possible in that, like if I have a student who goes to church on Sundays, you should be able to have church here. You shouldn't have to convert to a new philosophy that doesn't even have a God if you have a God, I believe. So I put all this together so that you can take it and make it work for yourself. I need to turn some lights off. Yeah, I just want to get a quick bite of something. Are you upset that I'm not sitting right next to you? Yeah, I just wanted, hi, you're okay. Let me get a book. for these folks. I don't know if you just heard my little kitty cat going. Oh, you're so welcome. Please go sign up for things. Oh, you as well have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. I want to show you how the extraordinary vessels are illustrated. I can't show you the girl because it has boobs. But this is how the your acupuncturist contemplates these numbers as channels in our body. I gave you pictures of like old art so that it looks more like people. Aren't these cool? So these are like other meridians. They're just, they go to extraordinary. They go to the what we inherit. So the way these three ancestries end up playing out. Hello. Hi. Oh my goodness. You're eating me. Hello. You're very dramatic. The base of this is the DNA we get from dad, just a way to contemplate it. The head is the DNA we get from mom, and the middle is the babies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, hello. Oh my goodness. Hi. Did you wake up and now you're a terror and what you gonna do when they come for you? Ow, ow, she's biting me. Yeah, she's so ow. Chinese Tai Chi Qigong. Yes, 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 yes. Very nice. Work with a Qigong master for the meridian activation. That's awesome. Hello. So this is called an exposition of the 8 extraordinary vessels, and this speaks to these vessels as medicine, but the author writes very beautifully about them in general. And so I just want to see, hi. Yeah, you're very pretty. You're the prettiest one. He's handsome and you're pretty. And you don't even have to worry about that. Ow. I'm just looking for something to find you to read. Man, she's so cute. My sweet little girl here. Yes, I was talking about you. What do you want? She's having issues. Hi. Do you want to tell everybody that you're a Shen and that you have a mind of your own? Yeah. You're in charge. You're the one. Yeah. Okay, she went right back down. Oh, you're so sweet. Happy holiday. Happy, happy. She sure is Shen. We are all Shen. I brought the Tao of Trauma. I just pulled it off my bookshelf. This was written by an acupuncturist and it speaks to Shen. The Shen this speaks to are primarily the ones with the organs, but I think it's a nice, just so you can listen to how we can contemplate this, even if you are not an acupuncturist. Skin. Skin has richly sensate and strong opinions about nature, location, quality and the kind of touch that it wants. Acupuncturists penetrate skin with needles. That organ is our largest one and wants to be respected and heard. Being mindful about how we relate to skin is critical for providers. Isn't that lovely? The Eiffel Tower is called the 12-storied pagoda. It is contemplated several different ways. One very common way is as the throat. I contemplate it because it's 12. I contemplate it as our 12 cranial nerves, with the very top of it being olfactory, the first one, and the base of it being the glossopharyngeal, which I like saying, which is the last cranial nerve. So that this is one way to contemplate the brain. The 12-storied pagoda also is like the labyrinth experience of our inner ear. I'm just going to get something to show you so you can see it. So this is a very, very large version of our inner ear, and look what's on the inside of your ear. There's a whole, it's a labyrinth. This is the nerve, the auditory nerve. Okay, clearly this has been very, oh, I'm very glad that this is helping you communicate with your son. That is wonderful. Yay, Emily, that's fantastic. Love that. 12-storied pagoda. So when we're like navigating the world with ideas, part of what's happening is we're like navigating this, but this is also our experience of balance in general. And the cranial nerve that does that is the 8th cranial nerve, the vestibulocochlear. I love that word. I sound very smart. I'm not. I have to look a lot of these up. But the vestibulocochlear nerve is the nerve of our balance. It's the 8th one, though. Most of the early nerves and the 12 nerves of our sensory motor cortex are assigned to our eyes specifically. So this is very much having to do with inner experiences, and yes, inner sight, but also like inner awareness. Does this relate to speech and communication? It can. Yeah. I don't want to position myself as a entity that I am not, which is a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But this is looking at connective tissue and also like the pathways of experience. I personally, Emily, think this is a wonderful way to contemplate an autistic brain, because our brains don't have the neural pruning. And so here's a very rich canopy for the nervous system just to contemplate. Oh, genius. I actually am. You both have Ehlers-Danlos. Yes. Hello with the Ehlers-Danlos. Let's contemplate tensegrity. I'm going to blow your mind. Prepare to be having an idea. Okay. The basic principle of tensegrity is 2 fixed, 1 fluid. Not necessarily 2 can never be moved, but 2 fixed, 1 fluid. In this chart, Jing and Shen are fixed because they're connected by our spine, by our central nervous system. Chi is fluid because it's just existing. Plus, the kid is floating, and look, she goes right into she can just do whatever she wants. She's just sewing. She's a needle sewing thread. So that translates to these trigrams as the base and the top being fixed, and it's in big quotes, okay? But the middle being fluid. That's called tensegrity. Our tissue is built the same way. When we apply it to the body, it's called biotensegrity. And biotensegrity all happens with triangles. So this is a tensegrity model. Obviously, our tissue doesn't look like this. But if the base and the head are fixed, that would create base and head just as like one of these struts. And then the fluid, here's your chi. So if that's one person, here's another person, here's another, here's another. This is one way to contemplate how we're all interrelating. We then make it our tissue. Poof, now it's tissue. Ehlers-Danlos, these points here, these connections that are fascia, the extracellular matrix, they're flaccid. In Ehlers-Danlos, we don't have the same kind of the ACE bandage factor of our tissue is, it's like you've been washing your workout pants and putting them in the dryer, and like they just don't have the same kind of hold anymore. And so what happens with our bodies is the stress that happens and the pulling and the reaching and the everything, our tissue either can't move or it doesn't like go back to where it should be, or it starts having new flipping pathways. So much pain with the Ehlers-Danlos. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So tensegrity is a principle, and it turns into shapes like Buckminster Fuller domes and birds' nests and spider webs. And you and me. Fractals. It's like the fractal of human biotensegrity. Biotensegrity. You are so pretty, girl. Oh, hello. What can we tell people about you? She's 3 whole years old, so they are, I believe, in their teenage years. Let's all just contemplate petting a kitty cat. Yeah. Her little pink button nose. You have a pink little button nose. She has a little bit of a, she has like a little brown spot here, which I feel like she used to be a violinist in another life, and she still has her little, violinists will get a, they'll get a, what is that thing called? Like a callus from where they play the violin. I feel like she has one. Huh. Yes, you're a reincarnated violinist. Thankfully, she's not a reincarnated trumpet player. My mother was a trumpet player. Those are very loud. She's violinist. She's very soft. Yeah, sweet girl. These Jing Qi Shen and extraordinary vessels that go to our inheritance, like the stuff that's like our blood, also have a relationship to the way that I added these colors to a whole ass human. In that, magenta is chi, blue is shen for water, and yellow is jing for earth. So it's like a CMY cube, only it's our mind. We just have to imagine it. Some of you can actually see colors on the inside. That's amazing. I don't see anything. But chi in the world is the horizon of the ocean where the ocean meets the water. It's not even the horizon where you see the sunset. It's where the ocean meets the water. It's the farthest we can perceive the planet as whole is on the open water. That makes this a water map, but also it is a nighttime thing because that is the Big Dipper and that is the Milky Way. And this lady is the star Vega. This is the star Altair. Just above and to the left, is that a bridge? Yes, that's the Jaw Bridge. The 13 realms, which 13? Let's talk about the Jaw Bridge. I'm going to have to look up 13. Yes, and so the Buddha becomes your tongue. And then in the book that you can pre-order, but also in the free stuff, because I know not everybody has $20 to invest. I know. There is a translation of this. This is covered with poetry, the original. And so you get an English translation, and this is something like la la la, saliva flows. So the jaw bridge is very much about the beginning of digestion, where we're chewing, masticating food. There's a protein in saliva called amylase. Don't ask me why I remembered that. It's like weird childhood things I remember. Amylase. Amylase starts digesting food. So this is, yes, this is chomp chomp. The mandible. There's your dowager's hump. Underneath where the fourth, fifth, and sixth vessels are, the dowager's hump. But that would also be our dorsal fin if we were whales and dolphins. We're not whales and dolphins, though. We're bipedal great apes. This down here, this little inner nest, is analogous to the yin and the yang in the middle of the bagua is you. That's where it is on our inside. It's called the hara in martial arts, or dantian in the this kind of more alchemy space. And it's like your cosmic cauldron or cosmic uterus, depending upon which way you want to contemplate it. But the cosmic cauldron is a space inside that everybody has that nobody can fucking mess with. We're not supposed to mess with that. That is your business. Right, Miss Ma'am? Sovereign. Sovereign whole ass humans. She does not care. Let me get this. You have a little bit of that. Thank you very much. So the exercise for connecting to Jing is sense of bum, which I always just start to rock. It's literally just find your ass on whatever you're on. Are you on a chair? I'm sitting on a day bed. Are you standing? What's going on? Where's your bum? Yin and yang on your body correspond to the perineum, the space between. And probably, if we wanted them to, they would be the that one of these is written specifically as androgynous. I think it's the number 6. So they would probably be that because you could be like either or. That would be fun to contemplate. Thank you for badges. I don't even know what that means. And I'm really okay. Can I go over the 13 realms? Are there 13 realms of Tao I should already know about? Or is it the 12-storied pagoda? Ash. I don't know if Ash is still here. There are many realms in Chinese cosmology, so it's possible that um, there are 13 that I'm just not like, I'm not Norse. This is Taoism, this is China. So the 9 realms in Tao would be, I would connect them to a different framework. I would put them in the Lo Shu in a 3x3 grid. Yeah. You can like, but it's real easy, Ash, to make the connections because this is all archetype. All of the Shen are archetypes. None of the Shen is like your actual organ or the actual thing. They're all archetypes. So if you're in a system that has a number that has a pattern that's pretty consistent, I believe it's easy to map onto this, but just you're mapping onto, right? So like the 12-storied pagoda here in China becomes the 12 signs of the zodiac, which are earthbound. They're goats, pigs, rat, monkey, horse, except for the dragon, but that goes with this inner child. So you could also then do the 12 signs of the zodiac, like the Geminis, and I don't know that kind of astrology. You would also, though, then need to be, if you really want to like really do it, this is a lunar cycle, and I believe that the months are different. So this is where the numbers get really handy. You would just place the first of your zodiac where the first of the Chinese is, and then it just propagates out. And it's just a way to look at the different patterns together. You've been practicing Qigong, Falun book. I do not know what that means. Falun. You have to move your body. Nervous to read it. I'm looking up Falun. Falun. Qi. It's a movement from China in 1992, meditation, Qigong. It's Taoist and Buddhist. Very nice. Oh, and it's based on the Dharma wheel. So the Dharma wheel is a different shape, but it's like a wheel that Buddhism uses. Obviously, this has a Buddhist influence. There's a Buddha right there. Including the dance troupe Shen Yun. So we're going to be careful because Shen Yun's a little culty. Little culty. It emerged from Qigong. Um, cool. My personal approach is I try it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, and I can't make it work, I say thank you very much and move on. But I try to keep like if it's not something I've been brought into, I try to keep it like real high level and then make it mean something to me. The 3 stated tenets are truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, which are similar to compassion, moderation, and humility. Tapping into TCM as well. These are the 8 extraordinary vessels of Chinese medicine. And this chart charts the inner landscape, the inner web of TCM. Is there a book coming out? There's a physical book coming out. Yes, I just got my ISBN yesterday. I am waiting for the Library of Congress to tell me I'm a real girl. So what I'm doing in the meantime, Stardust, is if you go to that, where that little address is right there, instead of $30, you can pre-order for 20. You get like the first 25 pages. And then as soon as I am able to, I'll send it to you. I am so real. I got an ISBN. Did I tell y'all I got back together with a former dominate of mine, sort of, but not really? Please do pre-order. Oh my gosh, that would make me feel so special. Make sure I have your zip code, but also I have a way. So I had to rehire him because I have been without proper management. Okay. I came up with this shit on my own because I was like, I'm just gonna feng shui all this stuff. Because it never needs to be more than 3 levels deep because of the trigram. So I was like, I'll just be information architecture again. And it turned into this amazing giant thing. And so I called this guy because like there's a lot of physics in here, and folks who know me through like the kink and somatic scenes don't know me as that kind of genius. And I was met with a lot of, oh, she's like delusional. And it's like, no, I'm actually just remembering things. I had a stroke in 2019 anyway. So I called this guy and I was like, please help me make sure that I'm not like out of my mind here. And so we had this whole long conversation because he's an engineer and an Aikido master, and he's married to a doctor of Chinese medicine. So I was like, if anybody's going to tell me that I'm out of line with what I'm thinking about how I understand all this, he will do that. He never did. And then he said, and I was like, can you please be my dominate again without actually being my partner? Because I'd like, and he said yes. So basically, all this, it's the best. He's, I just like pepper and like send him all the texts. And then he sent me a video a couple weeks ago about like, here's how you actually get a book done. And I was like, oh, fine. And within a week and a half, Stardust, I have the main document that this book is based on that I just am getting ready to publish. The main document is like 600 pages. I wrote a goddamn, it's like a whole new framework, but I need to go to the little yogi's room. So I will be right back. Contemplate the nature of amazing. Thank you all. Hazards of having a body. It does things. Right, I'm gonna say goodbye to YouTube so I can put some music on. And I will see the tubes of the use later. Okay, bye.